For those of you here with us in the paddock today, and for those of you watching along from all around the world, welcome to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. It is time for the Clash at the Club, the third of 4 rounds in the 2024 Stars Championship Series, and qualifying is just getting underway here with the KA Masters. Let's go ahead and we'll bring up that leaderboard on the left-hand side of your screen and check in with the Wiley veterans and how they're doing so far here in the session. Right now, the reigning number 1 plate, the Timitech Comp Cart of John Bonanno, leads the way at a 59.494, but we're just getting rolling. Myself, Xander Clements, here in the booth today. Caleb Vieska joining me as well, and on our broadcast team also will be Alexander Searle, who for this afternoon we hope and bring in all the intel from down on pit lane. Caleb, it has been a very interesting Friday, to say the least, first and foremost, with the weather.
Yeah, it's already been one to watch here this weekend. We had a little bit of rain a couple of minutes ago for the happy hour sessions all around, so a lot of drivers already getting to the wrenches, mechanics staying on their toes, drivers staying on their toes, especially trying to keep it out of the wall. And we have some big names already who were in the wall earlier on today, Xander.
Yeah, a surprise rain shower, as even still the track you can see is still very dark and slippery. John Bonanno dropping a tire there out of turn number 3. Brandon Lemke with some major woes, the biggest out of that final practice session for KA Stars. He stuffed it straight into the fence at the end of this back sector here. Take a look at that, the damage to the outside retaining chicken wire and fencing here. That shows you the impact that Brandon Lemke had right before he went on the airwaves with final practice. And now that the rain has cleared out, we're still on dry tires, as you can see. There is not necessarily all too much dampness, but it is far from the overly gripped racetrack that it was right before the showers joined us. Now, Nicky Coelho has leapfrogged John Bonanno to the top of the charts, and as we saw Bonanno drop a tire, this lap won't be good. Coelho's right behind him right there, going down that front straightaway, third in the line of carts, along with it looked like one of the Kutcher brothers as well. So there's a look at the black and green Franklin Motorsports Merlin of Nicky Coelho, and I believe that might be Andy Kutcher right behind John Bonanno, who currently sits in the 4th spot. But Coelho, a big-time lap last time by, might even be on something better this time by, because the just under a mile length on the track here at the MCC Kartplex has 2 major straightaway runs where a little bit of a slipstream is going to take your lap to the next level. And I think Nicky Coelho is in a prime spot for that, chasing 2 relatively fast cars here, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely. And for those drivers who were here for SCUSA, it's a little bit of a different track here. After SCUSA, a hole was actually made in this back section here that we're going through. So you're starting to see that Rhino liner that's starting that they put down after Superkarts USA obviously came to town, and now it's just a little bit different. A lot of drivers talking about two-wheeling in a couple of places, so this is definitely going to be one of the sections to watch here, Xander.
Yeah, that big sweeping corner had a little bit of work done to it, and especially that left-hand hairpin that sets up for the run down the front straightaway. Coelho's lap last time was good. It wasn't as good as his one prior, a 59.0. Currently the time to beat with 4/10 the difference, and Bonanno and Kutcher, they were working together so well the lap prior. They actually tied each other, both of them hitting a 59.479. Bonanno's previous next best lap was good enough to win the tiebreaker for second. So with that said, here as the field continues right now through the opening round of qualifying for everyone, we are watching, again, the first 4. Zach Corder right there in 4th leads this 4-car pack on that black and orange Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Then John Bonanno currently sits 2nd on the Timitech Fulcrum Competition Comp Cart. Behind him is our provisional pole sitter here in Nicky Coelho, and then up the road, who just went around, back down the road, who just dropped behind him, was Andy Kutcher there on the 299 Red Speed. So he right now sits in the 3rd spot off that tiebreaker for 2nd. Then it's Tyler Presto on the AMAX Racing entry in 5th. David Goldman, our round 1 winner from Charlotte Motor Speedway, sits 6th on his Kart Republic. Clay settles 7th on the top cart. Jacob Neary, David Galonia, and Austin Queen, as there was a little move by Nicky Coelho to try and go by John Bonanno but at this point, it won't matter too much. We're going to the checkers here. This will be the last run to the line, the last chance for Andy Kutcher to try and go by. Zach Corder has already bailed out on his last lap, and it looks like Bonanno will as well. Coelho will finish it out, but still he won't need to. A 4/10 margin at the end of qualifying for Nicky Coelho. A major run to the finish, as a few more, we'll see if they come across the line. Here's another one of the TKG Kart Republics bailing. Anthony Stifler will as well. And let's take you through how they stacked up at the end of qualifying, folks. Nicky Coelho on top of the boards. John Bonanno second. Kutcher, Corder, Prestel, Goldman, Settles, Neary, Galonia, Queen. Brant Estes there down in 11th. Anthony Stifler 12th. Greg Leahy 13th. Damian Jennings 14th, and then Peter Cook 15th, and a massive field of K Masters for the third race in a row, north of the 20 driver mark, I believe, or at least hovering right around there. 18 at Charlotte, 20 plus at Newcastle for King of the Castle, and 21 here at MCC with Ken Simonelik on that HMG Tony Kart down in 21st, capping off the field. So one class is already in the books here for qualifying. Plenty more still to roll, and we'll go back down to the youngest stars on the Stars Championship Series ladder. The Micro Swifts are currently on deck and ready to roll out here for qualifying momentarily.
Is Henry. This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
This is
Welcome back to the beautiful Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati as our Micro Swifts get set to go green here for the first qualifying session of the weekend. The first and only qualifying session, I should say, here for all these young drivers. Santi Orioli makes his return here to the Stars Championship Series after missing out at Newcastle Motorsports Park due to an arm injury. So good to see him back for his second race back from that injury as Lennox Lockhart and Zane Burgess go side to side here momentarily, but it's been the Zane show a lot this year. He was able to pick up a win in Wisconsin at the United States Pro Kart Series out in Badger, so good to see Zane Burgess here this weekend. And talking to him earlier this weekend, he was telling me that he wants to keep it the Zane show here this weekend at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, and looks to repeat the success that he had a couple of weeks ago here this weekend. Orioli, top of the timing charts here at the moment for the MPG Orioli Kart Performance team here. So good to see Orioli at the top, Lawrence Perriman in second, Burgess third, Hudson Howard fourth, Francisco coming off a big win at Newcastle Motorsports Park for the Ryan Perry Motorsports team a couple of weeks ago. So good to see Francisco back here this weekend. He currently sits fifth. Danny O'Gara, who we saw last week on the grassroots side of thing at the Route 66 Championship Series last weekend. So Danny O'Gara here currently sits in seventh. Lennox Lockhart in eighth. Kubinski in ninth. Katowski 10th here at the moment. So a lot of drivers here this weekend. 22 slated to start here on what's set to be a good weekend of racing for our Microswift Stars here.
Yeah, another healthy turnout for the future of motorsports with the 7 to 10-year-olds in the Microswift class. Let's take a look at the first lap at Speed Buys, and it'll be a great lap for Easton Kubinski. You saw him run up the order right towards the back bumper of this entire group, getting close to Lennox Lockhart, and that'll put him to the top. Lockhart third, Burgess down to second. Everyone in this pack right now is all of your fast kids. Lawrence Perriman is the only one that's not in the top 5 in that group, and the worst that they are is with him in 7th. There's a big wide run there for Jake Manalio. Went in a little bit too hot to the infield hairpin and lost some ground, so he'll drop probably outside of that toe. That previous lap he did put him 4th. We know things will change as Santi Orioli continues to show the train around aboard his MPG OKP Kart Republic. So all of your fast cars in this league group as things currently stand. The only one in the top 7 not in this major pack is that Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart of Jaden Francisco, who was hot off a great podium 2 weeks ago in Dowson, Wisconsin at the U.S. Pro Kart Series. He has been on a tear. The Canadian under the RPM banner has made some major headway over the last couple of weeks, and they had a somewhat of a 2-week kind of summer camp the Ryan Perry Motorsport Group did straight after Wisconsin, went back to their home racetrack at Trackhouse Motorplex and had a number of drivers there training. That Arcane RPM kind of combo tent has about 9 or 10 drivers. Francisco's one of them, and talking with both team owners Trevor McAllister from Arcane and Ryan Perry from Ryan Perry Motorsport, they felt very confident of the progress that their young superstars made over that 2-week stretch. Over 10 days, they were on track for 8 of them, Caleb. They had a lot of laps turned, and when you get some of those driver training sessions in between the weekend, it can be a major leap forward from the last race to the next. So curious to see what Jaden Francisco can do, especially considering the fact that he is not in the pack where the rest of the top 7 currently lie. So let's see what this next lap brings us. Burgess now at the helm of the group. Kubinski's original lap back on lap 2, still holding the best. Now it'll all change up. Lap 4, better for Kubinski, better for Burgess as well, better for Manalio. Perriman jumps up to 4th, and Jaden Francisco, as you can see, all by his lonesome, is now best of the rest. Back to 7th with the rest of that 6-car group all kind of slotting in between him. Jake Manalio, even though he's kind of somewhat alone, still did a good lap earlier on. A 103.17 was good. Actually, it was his new best, even though he's a bit back from that 5-car train.
Yeah, definitely still a little bit back, but not too far away. Hudson Howard is the driver that's currently behind the driver here on our screen, Jaden Francisco there in the Ryan Perry Motorsports machine. So we're still lapping around as we have just under a minute left to go in this qualifying session for these Microswift drivers. And it's really been a stacked class all year long. We've had a lot of different race winners across all series here in the U.S., and everybody's still taking the fight to the front runners here this weekend.
Let's see what this goes across the line. 40 seconds left. Little shuffle, and it's Lawrence Perriman now with a big toe lap behind Orioli and Burgess, who will jump all the way up to P2. Easton Kubinski's time is still holding nicely. A 102.81 will be hard to beat, and as Burgess and Orioli trade that top spot, they're going to hurt themselves on what will be the final lap. So neither one of them at this rate are going to have a chance to challenge for pole. With all this passing, and it might have backed up Lawrence Perriman, but he's now the next best shot to maybe knock off Easton Kubinski. But the 38 still in a bit of a tow behind Lennox Lockhart, and what was 6 is now 2 groups of 3. Orioli, Burgess, and Perriman in this group. Lockhart, Kubinski, and Manalio in that one. And then top of the hill there behind them is Jaden Francisco, who has at least gone better than Lennox Lockhart, who has also been having a good session to this point. This would be a new career best for Lennox to qualify this high up the order. Here's Francisco, and as they run to the line towards the checkered flag, Microswift qualifying coming to a close. Kubinski was trying to take that run and go by Lockhart, and ultimately none of them will improve on this last lap. There will be some movers further back. Danny O'Gara with a good lap at the end. He'll jump to 9th. Jack Katowski slides to 10th. Hudson Howard into 8th. But all of the leaders, the entire top 7, really not trading too much on that last lap because they were trading positions on the racetrack and all went anywhere from 2 to 4 tenths a lap slower. And so you can mark that one up and in the books for Microswift qualifying. Let's take a look at how they stacked up. AEM Karting, hot off their maiden KA Senior victory a couple weeks ago with Mick Gabriel at the helm. Now has their Microswift superstar Easton Kubinski on pole here as quali comes to a close. Lawrence Perriman second. Burgess, Orioli, Manalio, your top 5. Francisco, Lockhart, Howard, O'Gara, Katowski, the top 10. And then a pretty hefty gap back to 11th with Dominic Gaddis over Kason Hendrickson, Wyatt Huntsbarger, Will Feitinger, Miles Wilson, the top 15. George Zeminski then next up in 16. Jackson Frank, Drake Williamson, Darius Warrenowicz, Leah Simonelik, Lincoln Wiley, and then Marcelo Flores, the 22 from Microswift, all gridded for their 2 heat races tomorrow. Their day, their Friday officially comes to a close as we get set now to bang some gears. Pro Masters and Rock Shifter Masters on the grid, and there's a look at the reigning number 1 plate, Joe Ruck, who has had a tumultuous Stars Championship Series season. Really overall, Joe has had probably some of the biggest highs and lows you can have in karting, from leading and battling for the win through heats to then some rough runs in the mains that put on a show for us having to drive forward. He still finds himself relatively in the championship fight for his title defense here at the Stars Series, but nonetheless, there's a look at the Pro and Rock Master breakdown. 600 numbers for the Pro Masters. Those are the drivers on the KZ power plant. The Rock drivers were on the 500 number count, and they are still scored in the overall Pro Master division. It's just a subcategory for the engine. They get a small weight break, and on top of that, they are also, again, scoring points in their own division, as well as having the chance to compete for the overall victory, which we have seen in the past as we've got problems for Matt Machiko. The Magic Kart drivers off on the outlap here in the S's, right in front of our Kart Chaser tent. That is right in an awkward spot. This is a big trouble turn at the end of the S's with how much speed you carry, and then you can see all the marbling offline. That was a big talking point, Caleb, when we would go back here to the last time we visited the MCC Kartplex on the national stage with the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. There was more offline marbles and dirt and dust here than we had seen all season, and it's still been a big learning process from the spring as we brought the new MG compounds, the new red and the new yellows, these medium and the soft compounds that are used for the various different classes in Shifter and OKN here for the Stars Series. They use the softer compound. Outside of OKNJ, they use the medium compound, and then the KA and Swift classes use the medium compound as well. But, you know, the tires are rehomologated every other year. So it's every 2 years usually you could have a major swing in the build of the rubber, and it can play to throw out your entire handbook, your notes from the previous time you visited a racetrack. And comparing even to this time last year for the Clash at the Club, we've got a lot more drivers, to be fair, over 240 here, I believe, this weekend. But still, the amount of rubber online and the amount of just debris offline was so crazy for the SCUSA Pro Tour. I mean, if you put a tire wrong or you got passed in one corner, you were going to be slipping and sliding for what felt like the entire rest of the lap and then some.
Yeah, and I mean, correct. And we've also had a lot of other series come out here, right? SCUSA came out here first. Then Rotax had their the start of their East Championship. And so it's just everything online has a lot of rubber, very, very grippy with drivers, trying to find the setup, trying to take grip out of their karts and kind of deal with that. but everything offline is super, super slick. So it's a big variance in between what you have online to what you have offline.
Now, that will matter a lot more when we get into the heat races, which will happen tomorrow, as well as pre-final A for all the divisions that have a split pre-final. The B pre-final, or what is a pseudo for the last chance qualifier to make the main event, will happen Sunday morning, and then, of course, main events all into the afternoon. The pro classes will run their 2 heats tomorrow as well, so that'll be more of our talking point probably tomorrow. Here in qualifying, you'll see most drivers stay offline, but if they do make a mistake, if they drop a tire in the dirt, or if they blow a corner like what we saw with Manalio there in micro and go a little bit wide, it will become very, very tricky to clean those tires back off without overheating them and try to hopefully have enough laps left to put another hot lap up on the board. And speaking of hot laps here, check it out. The 1 and the 601, those 2 Maranellos, Mike Gouache in the 601, the number 1 of Joe Ruck. Ruck top of the boards, his teammate Skitchy Barnes just behind him there on the more black, gold, and red Maranello entry. They are first and second overall. Scott Presti, who we were following a moment ago on that Ralph Schumacher kart, he sits in third. But Skitchy Barnes, who has been very impressive for the Rock-powered machine, he leads the Rock Shifter Master standings, has had a pretty solid run in the overall class as well. He sits second, just a tenth and a half back from his teammate on the KZ engine.
Yeah, so not too bad for some of these drivers. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Scott Presti, the lone Ralph Schumacher kart here this weekend for that shifter for that shifter team. Or he's either pitting by himself or the lone kart here this weekend.
He's pitting, sort of. He's pitting by himself, but at the same time under the VTM banner.
Oh.
But the rule under the VTM racing team is to be that you have to work on your own kart. You cannot have a mechanic, so you have to be 100% on your own to work under the VTM tent. You cannot have a mechanic and have anyone help you. You all have to work on your own go-karts, but he's with a couple. He's got himself, he has Ryan Frank, and then, of course, the owner of VTM Racing Team and the doctor behind VTM Racing Engines, Morn Van Tok. So a couple of Ralph Schumacher karts, actually, on the red and white colors. But Scott Presti, the best of them currently, he's fourth in the 608. Jake Fetter has now jumped up into the top 5. The Timmy Tech Comp Kart, the blue and yellow, into third on the 612. Tenth and a half back from Joe Ruck, who has not yet improved from his previous time.
Yeah, not able to improve yet for Joe Ruck. Skitchy Barnes there sits in second, first of the Rock powered machines. Jake Fetter, I mean, this is a driver that we talked about a lot so far this year. His first, I believe, one of his first shifter national starts was at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where he actually put it on the pole position. So not a bad start to his shifter career for Jake Fetter in that Timmy Tech Home Kart.
Not at all, especially, again, when you only look at, the amount of opportunities to race a shifter kart. Really, on, a full grid, you've got here and you have the SCUSA Pro Tour, and that's about it during the regular season. There's, plenty of testing you could do alone, but you're never going to be able to test on a track like this that has this kind of rubber buildup, this kind of marbling on the outside. So to do what he did at Charlotte was definitely impressive, and it was also the best place to do it because nobody else could test or have any notes from racing there before. That was the first gearbox race at Charlotte Motor Speedway since the reconfiguration and repaving of that kart track circuit. And it went over very well for us here on the Kart Chaser crew and for the Stars Series team, as we see Fetter catching up to one of the Maranellos. Looked like it might have been Michael Gouache. Burned his next lap, so saw him frustrated. He was ready to go for a push lap and caught him early on in it. But sounds like things are moving along very well to potentially secure another date in 2025 to return back to the infield of the High Banks. Qualifying, while still having some minutes remaining here for Rock and Pro Masters, is already starting to see a number of drivers head to the scale line happy with their banker laps. Skitchy Barnes will pull it in. So will another one of the Maranellos. Looks like in for Fetter and in for Michael Gouache. Here's a look at the LFB Racing 621 of Luis Quinones. He is down in 11th, 2.1 seconds to find. The Orlando-based driver just outside the top 10. Only a tenth to get up ahead of Hugh Templeman, but currently down in 11th. Matt Machiko, we saw his spin early. He has not been able to get much of a lap until the last one. That last lap was a heater for the Magic Kart driver. And he's the lone fast car still left on the circuit at this point. Ruck is in, Barnes is in. Machiko doesn't look like he's on a push lap this time. I think he's going to sit with the lap he did last time by and then slowly bring that kart into pit lane. So Matt Machiko at the last second splits up the Marinello 1-2 and puts the Magic Machine on the front row for heats tomorrow. A nice run and a nice recovery. It's hard enough to put a good lap in. It's even harder when you go off the racetrack early and have to quickly get up, bring that kart back onto the surface. But a great recovery for Matt Machiko to still end up qualifying second with a spin on that fresh MG yellow rubber. So nicely done. Here's another one coming across the line. No, going to pull on in. That'll be another one of the Beer Larks, I believe. That might be John Ditzelwig, who just bailed into the scale line at the last second. So no one going to take full advantage of the session. Here's Mike Rivera on that black and white GFC. He ends 7th. Second in the Rock Shifter Master standings to Skitchy Barnes, about a half second back. But 7th overall in Rock Masters qualifying. So once again, here's a look at the full results from the 13 Shifter Master drivers we have in attendance here this weekend. Rock on top. Machiko, Barnes, Fetter, Scott Presti, only 2/10 apart. Pretty close field here, to say the least, Caleb.
Yeah, really close for these Master Shifter drivers. Definitely showing a lot of the younger guys how it's done, right? Banging gears and doing it here this weekend. So good to see some of these drivers out here and racing and pushing themselves to the absolute limit, because I mean, we see what it takes to drive a shifter kart around anywhere, and especially a track like this that's so physical, with all the bumps, with all the corners, with all the G-forces that you can get in whatever corner. So yeah, it's really cool to see all these drivers out here this weekend, 13 total, so that's definitely going to be a competitive one.
Yeah, for sure. We're looking forward to that. I mean, for the Shifter Masters, it has been so fun to watch them continue to, evolve in that class, for a class that, for what felt like 2 full seasons, Joe Rock was head and shoulders above the field. They have all caught up, worked on their game, done their homework, and now it looks like we might be on the cusp of getting treated to a 3rd race in a row of a real open-ended battle that could see a number of different players at the top of the boards. This class, of course, ever competitive, ever intense, and ever deep with talent. KA Junior with another major turnout and a record-setting turnout compared to years past at this same event. The Clash at the Club will see B pre-finals for the first time in the KA Junior division this weekend, which means for us in qualifying, there will be 2 full groups heading on to the racetrack. First and foremost here, the first group, which I believe will be the bottom half from Happy Hour. So these are the drivers that were just below the cut line in final practice that are now released and onto the racetrack. And then the second group, the fast group from Happy Hour, practice number 4 for them on Friday, will go out afterwards. So the first of the total, and the cap set at 60. I think we were just shy of hitting that here this week. Definitely over the 40 on-track maximum. But probably around 50 to 55 deep here in KA 100 Junior. A massive turnout this weekend. So they're all slowly finding a place in line. You can see one driver bailed out on that back straightaway to find a better piece of real estate. That is the 815 Holtz Driver Development Tony kart of Isaac Nolan. He's obviously wanting to poke his own hole in the air, so he's going to go back. We got one off. Oh, no, that is the 831 Timmy Tech comp kart that has gone off to the wayside before we've even gotten this session underway. So you can see right there, the left front tire made it about half a lap before it came completely off of that driver's go-kart. The 831, that's Julian Pollard. So Pollard will get 0 laps turned here in KA Junior qualifying. The rest of the field is ready to go as he takes a look at the wheel there to assess the damage around this packed house, stadium-type feeling here at MCC Kartplex, with the motorhomes all the way around this back section of the racetrack as we watch the first of a few drivers head through that back sweeper and begin lap number 1. And again, here's a look through all of the drivers in our first group. It looks like at least 20, if not a little bit more. We know it's going to be more because there's 40 that are allowed to go, and they've split them in 2. As first across the line, the 877 or 827 of Casey Mosley. John Michael Dunnigan will go a little better. Big lap out of Marco Romero on the DPK Americas entry in collaboration with Team Benek on the 887 Alonso kart. He'll set the initial pace. Dunnigan second, Luke Fedowitz third, Mason Kuhn fourth, and Ezekiel Height there in 5th.
Yeah, as well for Marco Romero, his, second race back. He was here last weekend at the MCC Pro-Am Championship Series last weekend. Had an elbow injury, testing at Badger Kart Club for the United States Pro Kart Series, and this weekend is his first full national return to racing. There's he already making moves and getting comfortable going there on that left-hander.
Yeah, that was a bit hairy to get by for sure on Wyatt Smith, I believe, down in that DR Racing Kart number 870. But Romero's now going to set himself up for some clean racetrack here for another run at it. So this lap won't be good for him, I wouldn't imagine. Let's see what everyone else does across the timing loop. Big lap out of Jacob Scheible to the top. Fedowitz, Kuhn, Isabella Simpson there to fourth. One driver laid off the pit lane. One just joining us back there out of turn number 2. It looked like it might have been one of those Trinity Karting Group Kart Republics. We'll ID that one momentarily as Davis Henry takes his Leading Edge Motorsports Tony Kart to the top. So new driver on top of the boards.
Yeah, not bad for Davis Henry here, 59.847. Romero, cleaner room this time by. Obviously had to make a pass, but 101 is his lap time here at the moment. So a second, just about 2 seconds to find here for Romero. Let's see what it looks like for him. But 21 drivers total here on the racetrack for this B group, and then we do it all over again with the A group here shortly.
Yeah, and for KA Junior, we know that A group is stacked. For KA Stars, it'll be a different story with the split groups. Another driver laid off the line, so that makes 2. That was one of the comp card entries late out of the pit lane as big shifting up top. Maximo Karam will join the top 5 as Romero goes back quickest by 200ths. Mason Kuhn goes right up there as well. Closely packed for the first 3. Luke Fedowitz bumped to 4th. Henry, one of the last cars on the racetrack. It'll take a minute for him to cross the line and update, but Davis Henry's LEM Tony Kart sits currently in 5th ahead of Isaac Nolan, Jacob Scheible, Ezekiel Height, Isabella Simpson, and then John Michael Dunnigan down in 10th there, 6/10 off, who at one point did lead the standings as they crest the hill again. Romero chasing down one more. That is the 845, Jared Thomas.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Jeremiah Thomas in the wall there on the exit of the left-hander. So that's going to mark a early end to his qualifying session. Going to have to start second and last in his heat races later on in the weekend. And Derek Wargo was actually the driver who was late off the grid. So let's see what Derek Wargo can do here. That first lap obviously not going to be relative, but definitely going to need to pull something out of the bag here with just 2 laps.
Yeah, he will not get a lot of time, and we've seen many times over that the last lap on the racetrack is so much faster for the group that laps 4 and 5. Now the track could be a little bit better, so he'll at least be there at the end, but still not ideal to cut your own session short by just missing the grid call time, which right now for those listening on in the pits, we are bang on schedule. As we watch this next group crest the hill, you can see Romero top of the screen at the back of it. He's was our fastest car. Mason Kuhn has gone better on the MPG Kart Republic in second. And now to first. Romero back to second. Let's see this time around. They'll get one more lap as Romero reaches in front of the motor. He's going to make a little carburetor adjustment. Big run. I think Michael Dunnigan is in that group as well. He'll jump all the way to 5th. Big lap out of JM Dunnigan. Marco Romero back to the top with a good lap as well. And Dunnigan's going to get shuffled by Maximo Karam in turn 2. That'll hurt his final lap chances. They will be on the border of if they get another lap in here. 45 seconds to go. The lap times are just under a minute at a 59.17 for Marco Romero. This group might be just barely the first group to get the checkered flag. Ezekiel Height on the RPM Tony Kart. Big lap as well. He'll jump to 3rd. Luke Fedowitz down to 4th. Mo Karam 5th. Dunnigan, Nolan, Henry all the way down to 8th from at the one point leading the standings. Casey Mosley 9th. Christopher Utzi has jumped into the top 10 as more names continue to shuffle in Group B for KA Junior qualifying. And this should be the run to the checkers. Let's see if they get it or if they'll get another lap. Bobby Radovoy up there on the flag stand, keeping a close eye on the time charts. This group will make it through. They'll get another one. Checkers will fly for Maximo Karam just behind. He'll be the first one done on the 846. He'll lock into 3rd at best at a 59.338, and now it'll start to change. Davis Henry goes better. He'll go to 3rd. Romero still on top. Mason Kuhn 2nd. Maximo Karam back to P4, and he will have to sit and hold on while this major group gets one more chance to knock him further down the leaderboard.
Yeah, so everybody just still trying to improve lap times here on our timing here at the moment. Shows that Romero got the checker. Don't know if they made it on time or if this next lap is going to count, but we are going to keep an eye on the timing screens here. If anything shuffle, it's for Romero, Kuhn, and Henry, who currently sit first, second, and third, respectively. So anything can change, and a lot can happen for all these drivers that need absolutely every ounce of pace out of their go-karts here.
A little wobble there for Jacob Scheible coming to the line. That'll hurt his lap. Lawargo's going to get a last chance to jump up the line. He'll go to 14th. Big laps out. Anyone in there? Romero's going to bail out. He doesn't want any part of it. And it looks like it will hold. No, that was, Mo Karam that pulled in. Romero's last lap wasn't better, but he still will survive the onslaught of that fast group coming across the line. Marco Romero will lead us into Group A as he tops Group B qualifying here in KA Junior. Mason Kuhn second. Davis Henry, Max Mokaram, Ezekiel Height in fifth. Fedowitz, Nolan, Mosley, Scheible. Oh, and a last-second update there on the boards. I don't know if that was correct. If it was, that might be some penalties applied. If so, that puts Davis Henry back to the top of the sheet. So we'll wait and hear for more confirmation. But as they stand, Davis Henry at a 59.321 is the quickest. So let's go down to pit lane, though. What we do know is at least official, while Tech continues to roll through, is our overall Pro Masters top qualifier, Joe Ruck. Joe, Alex, we'll send it down to you guys.
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, Joe, pole here in Master Shifter, a pretty tight field there. About 500 separates you in second place. But, you know, what did it take to get that pole lap? I know it rained right before your qualifying session, but it didn't seem to affect it too much.
Yeah, Master Shifter is always really tight. We got a lot of really good drivers in the class. The rain didn't affect the track too much. We had enough time that it dried up. It actually might have got a little better. It felt like there was a ton of grip out there. It took about 2 laps for the tires to come in, and then, yeah, the track was great.
We've talked about the marbles seemingly the past couple of weeks is what it's felt like. You raced the SKUSA race here. You told me basically already it was 5/10 faster at that race a couple weeks ago. So, you know, has the marbles played, a factor so far? I know it's more of a racing situation, but I've seen some guys throw it off the racetrack in qualifying already.
Yeah, I mean, I even got out in the marbles a little bit in practice, and I just pulled in because you're pretty much toast after that. These tires, they instead of putting rubber down, they kind of ball off to the outside. So if you get offline, especially in a race situation, it takes a couple laps really to clean your tires off. So, I mean, it's really important to stay online.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
There you have it from Joe Ruck on the Intel, and very interesting to hear his points about how dirty the track gets offline, and also, again, about how the tires take to the racetrack. Again, like he said, balling up, going off the line versus going into the pavement and adding more rubber and grip online. There still is definitely a good amount of grip. If we check in on the back sector of the racetrack, that far left sweeper will really show the dark online portion, and then as well, if we can take a look in the second to last hairpin, you'll see some of that new Rhino liner. So first here through that long sweeper, you can see all the dark rubber being laid down, but into the back left hairpin, there you see that slightly darker sliver in the center of the racetrack, and that was just a bit more of track maintenance done by the onside MCC Kartplex crew. There is so much load in that left-hand corner when you go in, and as well the right-hander right after it, because you carry almost, the throttle completely through the sweeper that leads into these two switchback hairpins, and then you think of all that G-load straight to the outside tires, which is, again, why you're seeing the darkness of the rubber being laid down maybe a couple feet off the curb. They're not driving that far off the curb, but the real tire that's doing the work in those corners is the outside tire, so those right side tires getting worked a lot more in that back section, and that comes into strategy on your tire setup, because you would think left and right turns, road course setup, you're not going to necessarily what's called stagger the tires and run different air throughout all four, but on a track like this, Caleb, with more left turns than rights, you might.
Yeah, no, definitely, right? It's definitely some of the things that a lot of teams, a lot of drivers are going to think about doing as the weekend continues to progress, but a lot to come our way here with our KA100 juniors. Nathan Golseth, actually, one of the drivers who has been quickest all weekend long so far on this Friday afternoon. He's going to lead us out onto the racetrack here for our KA100 juniors. Group number 2, Chase Gassioli going to wait here a little bit and play a little bit of games here early on and try and find good track position, because that's really what this session's all about, right? With this many karts, with this many drivers, with anybody inside of the top 20 in this class can really have a shot to be up there and fight for a race win. So track position is definitely going to be super important in this qualifying session.
Yeah, and there's a couple other fast ones behind Chase Gasquet, like recent newcomer to the front of the field, Benham Abernathy in the 877, Hotstede, Tony Kart, and Isaac Malkiewicz on that PSL Karting Bureau Art. They were lined up behind Chase Gasquet. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe they had a little pre-qualifying strategy talk to go, hey, let's go out by ourselves away from the rest of the pack and try to work together to put a good lap in, while the main pack is probably about 15 or 18 cars deep. And there was another group even further back than Gasquet. That was the Race Lab Karting TB carts of Travis Pettit, Ty Fisher, and maybe one more that all kind of went out even further at the end. You lose out on potentially the last lap of the session by waiting that long. But if you get clean laps versus, the risk of running in a pack like this here, where you might catch someone at an awkward time on your last lap, it's still a better run because you might as well throw that fifth or fourth final lap out the window if you have to make a pass or get past or run up into someone in the break zone. So might be one less lap, as there was a little aggressive move by John Antonino Jr. on Golseth to go on by, but he'll march his way through with Tristan Murphy following, and another one of those MPG Kart Republics as well. I believe that might be the 820 of Landon Boer that followed through also. So, but on the flip side, talk about the winningest KA junior driver so far this year, Enzo Vidmontien. He's right in the middle of the swarm. So he obviously didn't feel like he wanted to go out by himself. He didn't end up having a dancing partner he wanted to line up with and wait a while. So he's just going to march his way through this pack. This will be fun to watch Enzo try to, find a hole and get himself a good lap in, because the first laps in won't be ideal, I think, as he's passing a couple drivers that maybe are a little bit slower up the road. Let's see if he goes on this one. He does. That looks like that might be Ryan Mort in the 814. But I'll confirm that shortly. In the meantime, the driver behind them in that bright yellow suit, new colors, and easy to pick out on the bright yellow Pride livery suit. Sodi Racing USA picked up Nathan Dupuis over the last couple of weeks, and in his just first few outings with the team, he finds himself easy to pick out for us now with the bright color scheme and at the top of the boards, or at least he was, until that TB kart group contingent came by and went a little better with the Canadian Ty Fisher. So Fisher, your quickest. There you see Travis Pettit behind him as well, and there looked to be a couple more that also followed that duo off of pit lane. But they will be the last ones. They'll be the ones answering, almost like a top of the inning, bottom of the inning, right? John Antonino Jr., he'll be the first one to set a new personal best. But then once these drivers get around, it'll even back out and everyone will have the same number of laps. And then the question will just become who ends up getting the last lap. Will they have a good enough lap on their last lap, the second to last lap for everybody else? Or will they end up, by surrendering that final lap, pay for it? Let's see how this second lap looks for Ty Fisher. Pettit might be even better. He's got a big run on him coming down the front stretch. Let's see what they do. At the line, Fisher to 8th. Pettit, it looked like he didn't score a time. If so, the 8:29 did not go up the boards.
11th for Travis Pettit at the moment.
So he must have been passed. He might have led Ty Fisher around, and then they must have traded positions for the laps to end up looking like that. But they did not go any bit better than the top three. In fact, right now, it's an MPG Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 4. Landon Boer, John Antonino, Caleb Tarter, Jackson Deal. And on completely opposite ends of the racetrack, they are first, second, third, and fourth. Boer the quickest at a 58.379.
Yeah, this is really cool to see for the MPG Academy boys from Indiana. So their driver's currently top 4 here at the moment. It was very similar to what happened at Newcastle Motorsports Park for round number 2 of the Stars Championship Series. These MPG machines very fast in qualifying, and they're showing it again. Landon Boer leading the charge. Antonino in second, coming off of a hot streak as well here at the Stars Championship Series. An OKNJ win to his name, and a lot of heat race victories in the KA100 junior class. So let's see what these guys can do as they get set to cross the line. Just over 2 minutes to go. Antonino going to cross the line here, second to Jackson Deal, and we'll see what the lap time starts to look like as the session progresses.
Here's another run by the line. Gabriel Balog in that group. Max Weiland in that group. Weiland will go 6. Enzo Vidmontien going to get a good lap in. He'll go into the top 5. Still not able to beat the MPG lockout of the first 4 spots. Antonino's earlier time holding strong. And Landon Boer tailing that trio right there with him, holding at the top of the boards. Ty Fisher's involved all the way outside the top 10. Isaac Malkia will now break up and be the first of a couple to break up that group. You saw him leave the pit lane behind Chase Gassiet-Lee with Ben Abernathy. Those three drivers in a pack of their own, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th and a quarter to find to knock off this kid in that blue helmet, Landon Boer, who right now I don't think is going to set himself up nicely for a final couple laps unless he either backs off or goes around Max Weiland, because when you're right on someone's tail, you're only going to go as fast as they go. And right on cue, Landon's going to look to the inside and unfortunately get the door slammed in his face down in turn 1. So he will not get a better lap that time. He'll be still sitting pretty, though, as no one yet has gone better than a 58.34, which is his current best.
Yeah, that was risky there. We don't see many passes in our turn number 1, but when they are made, it's definitely a nice one. Boer just wasn't able to get it done there, and still behind Max Weiland, and you see Antonino pull away from the two drivers there further back. So this is just hurting Landon Boer here, unfortunately, being behind Mad Max Weiland, who sits in 7th. Bidamantien fell back to 8th. Dio 9th. Gabriel Balog rounding up your top 10. So a lot of shifting as Balog now goes up to 3rd. So the Magic Kart machine up to 3rd. Let's see what Max Weiland can do behind John Antonino when they cross the stripe this time by.
Yeah, Balog with a big lap there. Antonino Jr. Giving a bit of toe to Weiland. Weiland's going to get a push from Landon Boer this time. There's a look at Vidmontien. He's chasing down Tristan Murphy, trying to go better. He'll go to 9th. Enzo a spot higher in the top 10. Only 2 tenths separate the entire top 10. Down to Jackson Deal. Roman McCurdy's a 10th and a quarter back in 11th. Landon Boer still holding on. Checkers out now. So this will do it, I believe. The Race Lab TBs might end up lucking out with that main group that just crossed the line. I don't know if they got a lap in or not, but we're following this pack that's going to have one more chance to answer. Landon Boer trying to score a first career pole award. Spoke to his father and him last weekend off a great run at the Route 66 Sprint Series at Whiteland. He was looking strong there, and the progress continues. He led his first laps in a junior car at the King of the Castle. Now trying to hang on for a pole award. We just saw the TBs go across the line out of view. Neither one of them is going to break into the top 10. Fisher or Pettit outside. Last run at the line. Boer will pull out from Weiland, and nobody better. Murphy cannot go any better either. Vidmontien knew he had nothing left. He pulled in, and it looks like this group will be the last one to answer. Malkiewicz, Abernathy, Gassiet-Lee. Although they may be pulling in this time. Let's see if they go for the scales, and I think they're slowing down. Yeah, there's the yellow blinking lights. So it's official. Landon Boer, first career National Pole Award here in KA Junior competition. What a performance for Landon at a 58.345. Caleb Tarter will join him as the pair of young guns for the MPG Academy group will lock the front row. Gabriel Balog splits up a potential 1-2-3, putting his Magic Kart 3rd. And whoa, big shakeup there. Lots of laps just got disallowed. So now it is Antonino to Vidmontien to Boer. Weiland 4th, Deal 5th, Tarter 6th, Malkiewicz, Nate Golseth, Roman McCurdy. Ty Fisher now gets promoted into the top 10. I don't know what, I guess there again, either a best lap removed for a couple of them. So for whatever that may be, it could be a variety of things. It could even be simple as being late to pick up your race tires as well. But a lot of penalties come in. Now this looks to be the provisional results before they go to the scale line. Antonino Jr., Vidmontien, Boer 3rd, Weiland, Deal, Tarter, Malkiewicz, Nate Golseth, Rowan McCurdy, and Ty Fisher. The provisional top 10 to Ben Abernathy, Cameron Marcia down in 12th, Chase Gassiet-Lee, Tristan Murphy, Nathan Dupuis, the top 15 from this first group. And then again, this second group, KA Junior Group A, Sebastian Rist, Ty Mars, Tyrone Kemper Jr., Homer Heyman, Ben Cranston, Indy Anderson, Pettit down in 22nd, Gabriel Balog, Ryan Mort, Emerson Lane, and then Jude Thurmalaswamy. We're already on to the next group. It's time for the Swift Stars to take to the racetrack here as the sun continues to shine after the afternoon rain shower that we saw. And so Swift Stars, the entire group of just around 30 take to the racetrack here, where Parker Ives won the opening round at Charlotte Motor Speedway. At Newcastle Motorsports Park, it was one heck of a battle, much closer than what we saw back in North Carolina. But a couple of weeks off, more time to continue to develop and work on your craft. We'll take a look as the main pack is headed around the back sector and onto the front straightaway. Ives leads them. Let's see if he stays through the session leading this group. I would imagine he may drop back to get himself a bit of a slipstream, as the first time by the loop for your Swift Stars has Parker Ives leading the train on the Ryan Berry Motorsport Nitro kart.
Yeah, so Ives leads the train there. Brandon Eng in there. Bergman, Katowski, and Moore still in tow here at the moment. So let's see what it looks like this time by. Home race for Josh Bergman here this weekend. I shouldn't really say home race. Home race for the team here this weekend for Josh Bergman. A home race for Ben Gleberman, who's currently 6th in line here. Raced here last weekend at the MCC Pro-Am Championship, as well as a couple of other drivers making their return here this weekend. Marco Sammet just returned from Europe after racing over there overseas this past weekend, and makes his return to the U.S. national karting scene here this weekend. So good to see Marco back, and he said he learned a lot from racing over in Europe, and let's see how he can apply it here this weekend.
Yeah, and the last couple of races have been some major leaps forward for Josh Bergman. Better qualifying run at Dowsman put him in the mix. And when we were talking at the end of the SKUSA Pro Tour, he had still worked his way onto the podium on one of the 2 main event days, but having to do it from pretty far back in the field in the mid-teens. So if he can get a better quali effort and lock it on to Parker Ives is going to help him a lot with that. That opening lap as they freight train by Brandon Eng put Bergman second, Eng first, Ives all the way down in 9th, being the leader. Marco Sammet is in the middle of this group. His opening lap put him 10th on the BJR MDR entry. Then one of the Katowski brothers right there in the middle on that Team U-Race Sodi. That's Nico. And here comes this main group through the S's again. Let's watch them come up and crest the hill towards the completion of lap number 3 with Brandon Eng's lap best. One driver was slow early. That was, I believe, Riley Dobelier in the 188. The Nitro kart may have gone for a spin. She is all by herself back at turns 3 and 4. The rest of this group all in a tow, all in a run for a good lap. Bergman looks like he's on a great lap. Let's see if it's enough for the top. That time by Marco Sammet will go better. Marco Sammet to the top on the BJR MDR LN kart. He'll go by Brandon Eng with a pass and still be quickest. 300th better than Bowen Green on the Timmy Tech comp kart. Eng in 3rd. Grayson Wolcott puts the Parolin in 4th, and off and into the wall for Alyssa Van Eddy. Alyssa Eddy on that PSL Beer Lard has spun at the outside of turn 1 at the end of that long 1,000-foot straightaway. That'll hurt her quali effort. She obviously won't be able to find another group to run with. Maybe if she waits all the way for this fast group to come by, but then you've got to make sure that you avoid any potential impeding penalties, which would be very tough on this twisty and narrow racetrack, at least narrow in line, because it definitely, you hear the feedback from drivers, Caleb, saying this place is narrow, but by the measurements, it's a standard racetrack. It's just you're back and forth, left to right, and trying to stay on the rubber versus off the rubber is a tight window. Yeah, no, for sure. And I had the privilege to actually race here last weekend, and before anybody asked, I was terribly slow with our very own Trevor Blue for an enduro, and it's really a difficult racetrack to drive, especially with all the grip and all the high-speed sections. It takes a lot to master, and takes a lot to hit the marks every single time consistently, especially the back section. It's so bumpy. It's made it difficult for a lot of drivers. I mean, already today we've had some drivers out with injuries. Josh Conker, a rib injury here this weekend, still trying to fight through it. Beckett Friesen, a broken rib 2 laps into the first practice. So definitely very, very physical, and a racetrack not for the weak. No, not at all. You've got to be tough to last here. We saw that already with the Pro Tour. We're going to see it again this weekend with the Stars Series. Bergman bailing out of line, but he tucks in right in front of Brandon Eng. Eng is going to go past him just ahead of Nico Katowski, who will also throw it in on Josh. And he was trying to find a hole, and now he's going to drop all the way to the end of that group. But that right there might be the reason for all the times getting disallowed. Could have been that impeding penalty potentially. Marco Romero, we heard getting word that it was a timing malfunction for Marco Romero's time getting pulled. But we're keeping a keen eye on the laps right now. Holden Myers' new name at the helm in the 136 Timmy Tech Comp Card. He's in the middle of this group, I believe, on that bright yellow helmet. And there's a good look at him. Holden Myers, in the white helmet, just ahead of the yellow helmet of Bowling Green. So the two Timmy Tech entries, first and fourth. Myers at the top. Marco Samet second. Brandon Ang on the Catalyst driver development at Talcart sits third. Then it's Green. Bergman was fifth. This lap won't be too good as he was still letting more cars by. But he's now, I believe, locked himself into a good spot to try and challenge the next time around. So here's a nice close look at Bowling Green, currently fourth. Trying to go a little better as he trails the pole man. Does the leaderboard shuffle again as we got problems for Parker Stewart. The 121 has found the wall at the end of the S's. Stewart off the racetrack. That'll hurt his quali efforts. Any more changes? Not really. Isaac Payne, the only big mover in the top 10. He just jumped up into 9th from 10th, Caleb. So the times are starting to fade a little bit as we get to the end of this session.
Yeah, and the sun just continues to rise that little bit more in the sky. 86 degrees here in Batavia. So we'll see what it looks like as these drivers continue to cycle around. The 104 there, Bowling Green right behind Holden Myers, and he looks to be making up some good time here. So we'll follow him around for a full lap and see what it looks like as he spins their commentator's curse, unfortunately, for Bowling Green. Man, definitely I feel bad about that one, but unfortunate there for Bowling Green, who was looking set to put in a flyer.
Yeah, nice work, Caleb.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Bowling Green, sadly, out in the turf. He will not get another lap. This will be the run to the checkers, I believe, for most of the field. Timer's going to hit 0. Let's check the start-finish line shot and see as the pack crosses the line. Any more movers and shakers here? Doesn't look like it. Holden Myers, a 10th over the pack. Marco Samet, Brandon Ang, Green's lap in 4th. Looks like it might be safe. Some more changes outside the top 10. Cameron Johnson, Robert Lash moving up the board. But nothing in our fast 10. Half a second spread from P1 to P10 with Ben Gleberman. And I don't think that'll change at all. Looks like the last few will cross. And that will complete qualifying for the Swift Stars. And before we get ahead of ourselves and make it official, we'll pull the results board up and make sure none of the times at the last moment do get bumped or disallowed. Holden Myers looks to be safe. 61.732 for Holden. A 10th back to Marco Samet. Brandon Ang 3rd. Bowling Green 4th. Josh Bergman 5th. Parker Ives led the way, it looked like, the entire session for that fast group. He gets at least some credit with 6 for doing all the heavy lifting. Grayson Walcott 7th. Nico Katowski 8th. Isaac Payne and Ben Gleberman the top 10. Simon Klein, Cameron Johnson, Robert Lash, Braden Westfall, and then Nicholas Mose, the top 15. Let's go further back through the field to the rest of the 28, all the way down to Silas Root there in 28. Looks like all of them got laps in at one point or another. We mentioned some issues at the end for Parker Stewart. He did not get to run the full session. Alyssa Eddy had a spin early, so did Riley Davalier. But they all at least got something to go better than the tail, which sadly finds Asher Ferris and Silas Root down in 27 and 28. But another group in the books here, folks. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We return. The first of 2 groups for KA Stars will hit the racetrack for qualifying.
We look to complete the whole package by getting a strong mindset, a driving style to suit all conditions, strategizing your race, and getting the last 1% from your team. We'll teach you how to win the final lap of a race, driving the wet like Max Verstappen, and creating the perfect bubble for yourself to mentally be in the zone. To find out more, click the link below.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Parolin USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at parolinusa.com.
first laps in the books here for KA Stars Group B, and while typically the KA Stars drivers will be split just like the KA Juniors will, with the bottom half and top half for the B and the A groups for qualifying. However, they were right at the height of the rain shower that went through, and the very track conditions have had Stars officials have to call a bit of an audible. This was announced on the official Stars Discord right after the session, saying that they will be in the same group as they practiced in. So we've got a pretty even split down the line of fast drivers here in Group B and fast drivers coming up in Group A. And if there is, at any point in qualifying for this specific group where they're evenly matched, that the conditions were to change, let's say it rains right now or rains after Group B before Group A comes onto the racetrack, they'll use the 10% rule to try and balance it out, or the 101% rule, sorry, to balance out qualifying. And so what they do is they'll wow, big contact, massive impact here at the end of qualifying. James Overbeck, as well as the 935 of Peyton Klein, have absolutely obliterated the wall down in turn 1.
And it really just looked like Peyton Klein had absolutely no grip there, or brake too early. Not really entirely sure what happened there to Klein, but just got really loose there on the entry of turn number 1, and then Overbeck had nowhere to go, gave him the bumper, and then both of them ended up in the wall after getting into the marbles there. So very, very unfortunate start. And I mean, we a lot of racing drivers are superstitious, myself and yourself, Xander, included. James has, was debating on whether or not to wear that black suit today, and it just seems like the bad luck continues with that suit.
Yeah, every time he puts on his brand new offset BJR MDR suit, he seems to have some rough goes. One driver that's coming off the biggest high you can find, and that's a race win, is Mick Gabriel. Let's see what Quick Mick can do across the line. He'll go to second here in the group. Chris Harrower still a little better. And now Christian Menezes on the JMF Racing factory cart will go to the top. Sam Avrutsky there into fourth on the 924. Carter Thompson, Chase Adams, and more shading spots there. Overbeck's first lap before the crash still put him seventh overall, ahead of a number of BJR MDR entries. Campbell, Gaunt, Bierman, 8th, 9th, and 10th. But Christian Menezes setting the initial pace here for Group B. That again, this group will be just a mixed bag of top contenders and those that are hoping to become top contenders here this weekend, pace-wise. As there's a look down to the 993. That is going to be Jaden Harry on the JMF Racing factory cart. Oh, no, that is Menezes. Sorry, Christian Menezes. My mistake. Harry in the 982 or 979. That was Christian Menezes there in the 993. One driver going off in front of him. See what Menezes can do on this lap, as Mick Gabriel and Josh Campbell have answered the call, and Menezes will not go better. So now Mick Gabriel will go back to the top. Campbell in second. Chris Harrower fourth. Dallas Dunlap on that Super Tune Tony kart down in sixth. A few more moves further back here. There's a look at Josh Campbell, and the quickest of the black and yellow BJR MDR contingent right now. P2 at a 58.218. Yeah, big story, a big turnaround hopefully for Josh Campbell this weekend to turn his luck around, Caleb.
Yeah, no, for sure. Josh Campbell qualified on the pole position at Newcastle Motorsports Park at round number 2, and then just wasn't able to make the main event later on that weekend, and definitely wants to turn his luck around. Spoke to him earlier on this weekend, just still chasing the setup. He was, saying he's also a bigger guy in this class, right? A little bit taller than the rest of the field. Just talked about almost grip flipping a couple of times in between some of the very rubbered up corners. So definitely fighting with that, trying to take grip out of the cart has definitely been the key for Josh Campbell. He seems to be dialed right now, currently second, and the driver who's in first just passed him.
Mick Gabriel benefiting off of the big sail in the air that Josh Campbell's upper body provided him to go quickest, although James Overbeck has already rebounded from that crash earlier. He now sits atop and alone at the top by 14 thousandths. A good lap out of James Overbeck, the reigning Stars Championship Series KA Stars champion, who is still looking for that elusive maiden main event national win. He's podiumed more times than he can count. He has lost the win what feels like heartbreakingly more times than he can count. The last time he was here, he ended up about 5 feet short of the checkers, and at the same time ended up in that turn 1 wall with contact with Stephen Miller, who had no idea he was even coming, as Stephen was just 5 or 6 laps prior, nearly 2 seconds away. problems here for the 904. That is another driver that has had some issues in qualifying. We've already seen a handful have some rough goes of it, and that was Malachi Height. He is down in 22nd. So Malachi Height out in quali and not going to be able to go any better. And it looks like there may have been something amiss because he is 1.8 seconds off of James Overbeck, who just laid down a Bernard. He is 3.5 tenths clear now, Caleb. What a lap from James.
And he had to make a pass in the back section, so just that shows you the pace in that BJR MDRLN kart. And I don't know if the pass into that hairpin is really going to help him out, but, I mean, he's proved us wrong many times before, so we'll see what it looks like. Campbell pulling off to the wayside and letting a couple of drivers through. So we'll see what it looks like as we're getting down to crunch time. Just over 10 seconds to go. Is Overbeck going to make the line just in time?
He will be close. I don't know if he'll get there. Also, take a look at that front bumper. From that impact, might have potentially knocked in one side or both, and that could remove a fast lap. So, at least right now, both of his laps are the best overall of this group. But again, we're only halfway through the class. That time by with the pass, it didn't help. That was a good point, Caleb, a 58-0 for Overbeck. This group looks like they're still going, and they're going to get a chance to answer the call to try and challenge Overbeck or at least move higher up than where they currently stand. Gabriel, Campbell, Menezes, Ben Gaunt, Chris Harrower, Dallas Dunlap, Sam Avrutsky, Carter Thompson, and Ryan Bierman currently the top 10.
Everybody's still cycling through here, and this is really going to be super important for Josh Campbell if he wants to get himself on the front row and make Gabriel as well. Let's see what Gabriel can pull out of the bag here. He gets set to cross the stripe here shortly. Gabriel sees the checkered flag out now. He's going to have a draft on the main straightaway. What does it look like for Mick Gabriel when he crosses the stripe? He improves, but not good enough to knock off James Overbeck from the top step here.
Yeah, not quite for Mick Gabriel, but it will still give him some insurance going into the scale line to watch Group A here in qualifying because we're only halfway through. So for all of those watching along in Group A, the time to beat is a 50. And indeed, already Overbeck just had one time disallowed. So just like that, now the gap tightens up quite a bit. Was a 57.8, and he has now been pushed to his second best lap, which is still best overall, a 58 flat. But first, before the second group rolls, Group A, let's take a look at Group B. Overbeck on top by 21 thousandths. Carter Thompson, great lap there at the end. If it holds, it could be a career best starting spot for Carter. Third, currently, Josh Campbell back and forth. Dallas Dunlap fifth. Christian Menezes sixth. Presley Whitney, Chris Harrower, Chase Adams, Sam Avrutsky. But I think Quick update for those in the pits here. Just taking a look at timing. So we were trying to understand what was going on, why all those laps all of a sudden looked like they were getting disallowed on the result sheet. Here's a look at it so you can see. Again, this is not the exact order. These were the last laps that the drivers completed before they pulled in of the Delta and where they were on their last lap around. It may not have been their best overall lap. It is something with timing. Your times are still getting scored, just for some reason being sorted awkwardly. The good part is that we do know James Overbeck. Either way, his last lap was still good enough to go best overall. So we know that the BJR MDR driver was on top. The difference is that the time to beat is actually a 57.8. So we'll, right before the session ends and it resets, is the correct time. I imagine the Stars team is hard at work on it to make sure the timing and scoring is correct. So don't freak out. Your lap times are still being scored. The reason why it's reverting, we're not sure, but I'm sure they're straight on it over in the timing and scoring and race control booth. Happy that we're not over there, Caleb, that's for sure. But that is what was throwing us for a loop there, because it would be very surprising for all of a sudden 10, 15 drivers' laps to be disallowed. But that's what was happening with those result sheets, is that they were instantly, when the session would be checkered, sorting off of the last completed lap, not their best lap on the session, which is actually how qualifying is properly ranked. Here's a look down on the grid, though, with Group A for qualifying, and you can see Eli Warren, Luke Powers, Alan Isambard, three very fast drivers. Eli Warren, a winner here at the Clash at the Club in years past in KA Junior. All electing to go out by themselves away from the massive swarm of drivers at the front. And Isambard decided, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. I'll follow you guys out from the pits towards the back of the field. So here we go for KA Stars qualifying A. Provisionally, time to beat is a 57.8, and it is a traffic jam on the back straightaway.
Big swarm of cars here, looking to find whatever bit of real estate that they can on the racetrack. So definitely going to need to set their differences aside and get on with it here if they want to sit in a good lap time for this qualifying session and put themselves in a good starting spot later on this weekend as the War Power team there with War at the front with Eli Warren, and at the back, Luke Powers. So that War Power team working together here in the back section. Brandon Lemke back out on the racetrack after going through one of the fence barriers early on, like Xander mentioned. So we'll see what it looks like as everybody on the racetrack now. 24 drivers total. So we'll see what the lap times look like this time when they cross the stripe.
Yeah, they're just getting rolling and setting track position. Already you saw even someone at the front of that group decided to elect to go further back, that pack there with the Warrens and company.
Yeah, the Warrens and company further back, but everybody just still looking for whatever bit of racetrack that they can. There's Finnegan Bailiff looking to get through on Aiden Shimbashi. Lemke goes through as well as Steele who gets through. So everybody just still looking for a little bit of track room here as side-by-side further back. And, yeah, this is definitely going to be critical and crunch time for all of these KA Stars drivers. Lap time starting to come in. Lemke, top of the timing screens here. 59.283. Adam Maxwell, second. Will Steele, third. Matthew Mockabee, P4. And Mason Surgener rounding up your top five as more and more shuffling starting to go through. Luke Powers up to third. Alan Isambard up to fourth. So, and this is really one of the big differences that we're seeing here in this qualifying session. Powers and Isambard further back from this pack that we're seeing on screen now, and they have a little bit of more track room. They're a little bit more comfortable when it comes to fighting for position and you know, kind of jockeying it out to see where they can space themselves out. So I think you see all this on screen here. Big gaggle of cars here looking for track room and just still passing, still continuing to shuffle around. So definitely not going to help them out here. And definitely going to have to get on with it here shortly. There's Isambard has a big crash there further back. One of the Charlotte Claire's Steel Motorsports Burrell Art machines and one of the JMF machines there have gotten together. That's the 960 as, everybody looking to get through. That's the 982 there on our screens. Who's out of this one early? That's Jaden Harry. And the 960 as well of
Massimo Sanseri.
Yeah.
Big contact early, and that just burned everyone's laps getting through that section. So quite a bit of chaos to kick off Group A qualifying, at least for the main pack, and that makes everyone back here look like geniuses. Alan Isambard back there with Vaughn Beasley, and, of course, Eli Warren and Luke Powers on the War Power Racing Privateer Tony kart. So Beasley right now is third overall, Isambard quickest overall, quickest in this group overall. 58.36 for Alan Isambard, a 57.8 for James Overbeck. They're going to need some more time to go a bit faster, but as this group works through the back sector, let's see if Isambard and Beasley can go a little better. Eli Warren, Luke Powers trailing them, trying to get maybe a little bit of help, a little toe down the front straightaway. Can they go faster? Finn Bailiff trying to defend the house here. 2/10 clear of the field. Big lap from Warren, bigger lap from Jackson Wolney. How about that from the senior rookie on the SCR Red Speed? He'll go all the way to the top, trailing behind one of the LN carts just in front of him, it looks like. Might be one of the privateer entries. Oh, that is Zach Frank. Sorry, not privateer. Zach Frank on the Eyes Up Racing Tony kart there. Wolney's going to go by Zach Frank now. He sits 7th in the group. Wolney's time of 58.11 is still not enough to be quickest overall between the groups. He right now is, I think, 3rd or 4th, and there's a big bobble from Luke Powers. So that's going to force Wolney to the inside into the sweeper. That shouldn't hurt him too much, but it looked like he definitely did four-wheel skid it through that fast corner. They still have plenty more time to go quicker, though. At least 2 more laps here. At this rate, they'll be right on the cusp of, at least 2, possibly 3 for this pack. The main pack should get 3 more. Wolney's time, that time by, no better. 58.37, having to go offline and get around. Eli Warren getting a lot of inside tire hike there just up the road in the middle of the corner. Eli down in 6th, ahead of Jackson, Zach Frank. Finn Bailiff still at a 58.11, his personal best right now, and it is putting him 2nd as he now is working through some more traffic. One driver up the road going off in front of him. That's Mason Surgener on the MPG Kart Republic. He'll wave them by, and he's going to have dirt on the tires for quite a bit of the rest of the lap here. That'll hurt that next group. There's Brandon Lemke on that completely revamped Millwright Racing OTK. This weekend, his first weekend back on the Tony Kart machine, kind of going back to his own independent program. A full-on privateer effort for Brandon Lemke, and it started off with one heck of a test and a welcome back to doing things yourself with that major visit to the outside fence in final practice, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely not what Brandon Lemke would have wanted here. And for Finnegan Bailiff, looks like he got held up there a little bit by Lemke the lap prior. So Bailiff going to look to set in a better lap time here. His last time around was at 59.0, and he's 0.003 of a second off of the lap time that Jackson Wolney was able to set. So we'll see what it looks like for Finnegan Bailiff this time around.
Yeah, he backed off of Lemke to try and run up to him, but sadly Lemke caught more traffic. They're going to be close on time to get another lap in as now they catch up to Shimbashi's JMF Racing Kart Republic. He'll go by him and pick up a spot there and try to reset for one more chance at it. So Lemke leads Bailiff around down to the front straightaway. They're going to just barely make it in. There's the look at the time. 10 seconds to go. He backed off a little more to set for one more chance at it. Lemke should have clear track for a last lap run as well, but Jackson Wolney at a 58.111. Still best in this group, and sadly it will not fare well for any of these drivers if they can't find some more speed, because James Overbeck's 57.8 is well and above the rest of your KA stars. Into the pit lane for a couple as the checkers fly. Here's this group that we're following. Finn Bailiff in a good bit of track position right now. Tracking pretty good in comparison to Lemke, who he himself is 5th overall. So this could be one final good lap for Finn Bailiff if the tires have enough juice left in them. Haven't gotten overcooked. They're chasing CJ Bowman on the MPG Kart Republic. They should be able to run close to him, but not necessarily get tripped up. And over into the back hairpins. Last run to the line. Trying to answer as Jackson Wolney goes better on his last lap. 58.08. Here comes the run to the line. Bailiff did not get a good exit out of that hairpin. He'll call it quits on that lap. Lemke will finish it out. It will not be better for him. The rest of the pack comes by. No changes there. Jackson Wolney will go best in Group A. It will put him right about even with Quick McGabriel at a 58 flat for the pair. Gabriel, I think, will have the... Wolney will have the nod on Gabriel, so that'll put Jackson Wolney 2nd. And a near-perfect blend for the fastest in each group. James Overbeck, quickest in Group B. He'll go pole overall. Jackson Wolney, quickest in Group A. He'll go 2nd overall. And it's a complete merge. That's not by design, but that's a breath of fresh air, I'm sure, for the Stars officials to know that even though they had to split the groups by practice order, not necessarily by the practice results due to the rain showers that came through for the final round of practice. It still ended up working out where the fastest drivers were able to come out of that first group, and it was still very good track conditions, obviously, as there is a fast driver starting second out of the second group. So this quali session here coming to a close. Wolney again on top over Finn Bailiff, then Alan Isambard, then Vaughn Beasley, Brandon Lemke on back from Group A, and hopefully the times won't shuffle for us this time. It'll stay on the best lap overall. Looks like it will, at least for us to get through the order. Eli Warren 6th, Noah Jackson, Zach Frank, Lucas Zabo, and Luke Powers, your top 10 from Group A over Adam Maxwell, Blade Fountain, Logan Mueller, Will Steele, CJ Bowman, Christian Valverde, Matthew Maccabee, Mason Surgener, Kai Broben Facino, Jaden Harry, Autumn Fisher, Aiden Shimbashi, Raider Santos, Massimo Sunseri, and Joseph Gall in the 25 out of the 50 total in KA Stars. Late to the grid here, trying to get suited and booted is Nathan Golseth on that Arcane RPM Tony kart. He'll get off the line as OKNJ rolls off. And the debut season for the 125cc direct drive, nearly 35 plus horsepower or so, OKN Junior Division is underway here for qualifying, Caleb, with a number of the top drivers from KA Junior pulling double duty here this week.
Yeah, a lot of drivers here doing double duty. John Antonino, one of those drivers. Nathan Golseth as well, doing double duty for the first time here this weekend. So a lot of drivers kind of double dipping here this weekend. Chase Gassioli, another one of those drivers. Max Weiland, and the list goes on and on here for these OKNJs. So definitely it was an interesting start of the season for these OKNJs. A lot of mechanical issues at the first round. Second round got a little bit better. And third round, we'll see how it all plays out. But everybody's still learning the engine package. It's a little different to the X30 Junior that some of these drivers do drive over at the United States Pro Kart Series and at the SCUSA Pro Tour. So just a little bit of a learning experience here this year for all these drivers, and providing some good racing nonetheless.
And it's a learning experience for the mechanics as well. Think back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, how half the class had DNFs from one mistake or another. A lot of them for just the bumps knocking the spark plug boot off the top of the plug of the motor. So it has been a development process both for the drivers of how to drive these direct drive bump start engines, as every other class that they've grown up driving has had an onboard starter or an external starter that turns the engine over. In this case, you have to get a running start like a bobsled team to push off and spin the axle enough to get the engine to fire up. And then at the same point, no mistakes allowed. If you spin off to the side, you're not allowed to restart, on top of the fact of how tough it would be. So there's no room for error. And the style on the racetrack of how you drive a direct drive kart is also very different. You can't go and lock the rear tires up and spin it sideways into the corner, taking the motor from 10,000, 9,000, 12,000, or even at the rev limit 15,000 RPMs down to zero will bust the reeds right through the thing. So there's a lot of learning from the driver's side. There's a good amount as well from the tuners and mechanics and parents side as well. They've, if they're with a team that has fielded a driver at OKN Stars as recent as last year, or with an engine builder that ran in it, there's a little bit to learn from, but it's still just a quick progression over the course of the year, an accelerated learning curve, because, yes, there was plenty of testing many did over the offseason, but nothing tests you like a real race weekend, and this has been the only series that they're able to do it in. So when they rolled off the trucks at Charlotte, it was right there, go for the national championship in the Star Series from round one, and you better be ready to get after it, because you only get 1 day of practice and only 4 total rounds for the semi-pro classes, only 3 for the pro categories. But not a lot of practice needed here for Mad Max Weiland. He's quickest right now here by a 1/10.5 over Chase Cassie at Lee, Caleb.
Yeah, pretty good start here for Max Weiland, 55.784. Chase Cassie Lee, 2/10 off here at the moment, so definitely going to be a close qualifying as the session continues to progress here, Xander.
Let's go side by side while quali continues for OKN Junior. James Overbeck is looking for that maiden national win. He's got a great place to start from it with the pole award in qualifying. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. James, us drivers are pretty superstitious people. Your blue suit has become pretty synonymous with you, I'd say. But, Offset, the BGR boys gave you a perfectly good all black and green suit, and it seems like every time you put that thing on, it goes south for you. Nonetheless, a pole position. I mean, are we going to see the suit tomorrow, you think?
No, not at all. Me and Alex were talking on grid before. I was like, Well, today's hasn't been bad. I decided I was going to try the suit for today. Just seeing, I told him I haven't wrecked yet today, but that's changed now. And I even told Brandon as soon as I come in, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't wear the suit anymore. I'll wear it on podiums, but you'll see the blue suit on tomorrow for sure.
You seemed almost confused after that session because you didn't know how you went so quick. I mean, you actually put about 2.5 or so tenths on the field there. I mean, did it feel any faster after you hit the wall or what?
Not really. I mean, after I got some of the dirt off the tires, it felt about the same. I couldn't believe it. I thought the car was definitely junk for sure. And based off our luck the past few races, it's like we keep tearing up stuff, and it's unfortunate. But thankfully, the car seems to still be okay. I was looking at it in the scales, and I think might be some stuff messed up on. We'll have to take a deep dive into it this evening. But, yeah, I'm definitely happy with it for sure. I wasn't expecting it. I was watching my micron. The times were just going down every lap when I was on my own. So I was like, I might be able to do this. And sure enough, I was able to put it on pole. So I can't thank the guys over at BJR enough for all that they do. And hopefully we can keep it up there tomorrow and just get a good starting spot for the final.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
There you have it from James Overbeck after a, as he mentioned, crazy qualifying session that sadly is going to park that black and yellow suit for the time being. While granted, by the book, it's still good luck because he still ended up quickest in the session by 2.5 tenths, but I don't blame him. When you tear anything up, that's definitely not a great day at the racetrack here. For the most part, at least, like you said, it sounds like things are going to be okay.
Yeah, and honestly, if I was James Overbeck, I would leave that kart as bent as it is because he was that quick. 2 laps. I mean, he went both of his best lap times were quicker than anybody else in the field. So if the BJR, MGR boys can hear me, I would just leave that thing bent as it is. Don't even take it over to Tiago and either spend money on it or whatever. Just if they can hear me, leave it as it is and go out there and rip.
Well, speaking about going out there and ripping, how about Max Weiland here? He has put himself now nearly 4 tenths clear of everyone in OKN Junior. This lap might even go even better after getting around Chase Gassie at Lee. It will not. Oh, and he was pushing for it, though. Sent it all the way into the grass there, dropping the right rear off the racetrack. Seen that move plenty of times over here in all of the sessions we've gone to MCC Kartplex's track with that first corner being basically full throttle, and you're just hanging on, trying to keep that thing in the dark stuff and away from the green stuff on the outside exit curve. But it's very easy to make that little mistake. Isaac Malkiewicz now has moved up a little. Davin Roberts as well. They've pushed Gassie at Lee further back. Take that back, actually. I believe that lap was better. No, it was not. But it was a 55.2 that it's his best. A good lap from Isaac Malkiewicz last time and from Roberts to close that gap up to Max. But let's see if this lap, it drops the left rear in the dirt. That won't help, and checkers will fly. He's going to finish the lap out regardless. Curious to see what he puts in. It'll be a 55.5. That's not bad, considering. For Malkiewicz, needs a big answer. Won't find it. He's going to bail on that last lap. He'll pull the pit lane and sit with a 55.46. Davin Roberts, a 55.64, will end him third. Chase Gassie at Lee in fourth. Antonino Jr. in fifth. Then Gage Korn in sixth. Jonah Moniz in seventh. Not only, unfortunately, was Nathan Golseth late to get off the line, but there must have been something still amiss on that Arcane Tony kart. He did not get a single lap turn here in OKN Junior qualifying, and really Jonah Moniz also with some problems. Didn't get a ton of laps in. John Antonino Jr. Only got 3 in to go to a 55.98 as well, Caleb.
Yeah, I don't think Golseth actually had his transponder on. He was lapping, and I was keeping an eye on him as he was going around here in front of us, but either forgot to put on that transponder for the RPM Arcane Motorsports team or just a glitch in the timing system, I guess. But no lap on the timing charts for Nathan Golseth here, Danny.
Well, with that, folks, that will put a close in semi-pro class qualifying. Pro classes are all that remains. So OKN Stars, Pro Stars, as we take a look down the grid here with one of the deeper stacked OKN Stars fields, it feels like, here this weekend at MCC, with a few more names joining the grid. And we'll dive into a bunch of them as we take a look from high above the skybox view down at turn number 1. You can see there's still not too much movement yet on the grid. It'll give us one more final moment here on this broadcast to step away, and when we return, we'll go hot with qualifying for the Pro Divisions for the Stars Championship Series Clash at the Club to close out Friday afternoon. Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental U.S.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
I'm David Serra, 18-time Australian karting champion, and we're launching Kart Class. Kart Class is an advanced digital training program that suits a driver who's just starting out in the sport, all the way to the driver looking to win a national championship. In this program, you're going to be learning about how to find the ideal racing line and what an apex is. Braking and throttle markers, wet weather racing lines, and how to overtake other competitors. We target how to brake in the wet weather, and we look on the mental side of kart racing as well with our mental skills coach. At the completion of this program, you'll be lighting up purple sectors in qualifying, know when to defend on the opening laps, and how to pressure your opposition into mistakes. We teach you the tools to be resilient and how to get in the right frame of mind before a race. We look to complete the whole package by getting a strong mindset, a driving style to suit all conditions, strategizing your race, and getting the last 1% from your team. We'll teach you how to win the final lap of a race, driving the wet like Max Verstappen, and creating the perfect bubble for yourself to mentally be in the zone. To find out more, click the link below.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Parolin USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at parolinusa.com.
Welcome back to MCC Kartplex as the last bit of preparation continues for OKN Stars qualifying. There is a look down into the number 88 Hotes DD Tony Kart of Nick Terlecki, the points leader after his maiden Pro National win a month ago at the King of the Castle stop at Newcastle Motorsports Park for the Stars Championship Series. His first time leading a Pro Division Championship standings, and he's looking to come to a racetrack that has treated him pretty well. It was his first career Pro Top 5 here last year in only, I believe, his second Pro start, moving to X30 at the U.S. Pro Kart Series, finished 4th, ran inside the top 5 in one of the craziest main events that class has had over the last 2 years. Then, of course, the progression through this season, he did not start off on the best foot after being exceptionally fast at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ended up with more of a heartbreak than a heartfelt result. But he rolled that and turned his luck around in Newcastle. And while we were able to catch up with him earlier this weekend to see how things are going under the Holtz DD10.
Nick, listen, your first time in your career that in the 125 class, you're leading the points. So heading into this weekend, 2 rounds to go, kind of where's your mind at?
I'm really positive about this weekend. I'm really confident at this track, and I love the OK. So as long as, everything's been going as my way in the class, and we should have no problem being able to win this weekend again.
Yeah, from what you learned specifically in the OKN class, what do you think it's going to take these next 2 rounds to maintain that lead?
Just consistency. I was very consistent at Newcastle, and I think that's really helped me get a jump on my points. And I think if I could do it the same this weekend and the second round, then we should be able to take home the championship.
You've made a pretty big jump, I'd say, in the 125 class from last year to this year. You were X30 last year, OKN last year, but this year is where the pace seems to really be there for you. What do you think has made the difference?
Just a little bit more of testing earlier this year, and then ever since I switched to running 2 125cc, staying on the same compound, and X30 and OK is very similar. I've just been able to stay more consistent and just a little bit more calm down on the track, and just been able to finish more of where I want.
You've done a few practices this morning. What's the track like right now, and what can we expect for the weekend?
There's a lot of grip right now, and it's only going to keep building, so it's definitely going to play a big factor in how this racing goes.
Thank you, Nick.
There you have it from Nick Terlecki. Again, consistency, the name of the game, and he's chasing a championship right now from the easiest spot to do it with a small margin, but it is going to be close. We know that. There is so much talent through this OKN Pro Stars division, and they enter the weekend here with the entire top 4 all spread by about 30 markers here this weekend. Diego Ramos, Paulie Massimino, Caleb Gaffera still finds himself in the fight as well. There are a lot of drivers that do have a chance to really take their season up a notch if they can perform here this weekend. If you look at the overall point standings in the OKN Stars class, 531 for Nick Terlecki, 18 back, second place in the standings finds Brazilian Diego Ramos, who leads the championship as well in the SCUSA Pro Tour. So in 2 pro divisions, Diego in the number 85 is looking pretty good, or in the 21 here this week. Gaffera 20 back, Massimino 30 back, and then his team owner Josh Holtz in a close battle for 5th right now, 56 markers back, only 1 ahead of Ramos' teammate in Henry Wheeler, and then back 87 to Aiden Fox and 110 to find Aiden Larenko in 8th. But Caleb Gaffera, again, 3rd in the standings coming into this weekend. 20 points is next to nothing on the structure. You can make that up in a single heat race. So like Nick said, consistency will be the name of the game, and it's a lot easier to do that when you start at the front of the field. So let's see how the first laps shape up here for OKN Stars. Instantly a great lap, I believe, from the likes of Caleb Gaffera. That LEM Tony Kart, 200s to the best over everyone. Larenko and Fox 2nd and 3rd. Big lap out of the points leader. Terlecki goes nearly a half second better than everyone on lap number 1. Massimino in 5th. Alex Feldstein 6th. Austin Olds, Ramos, Holtz, Wheeler, the initial top 10. But the points leader going out by himself, finding clean air, clean racetrack. Already starting off pretty quick here, Caleb.
Yeah, 55.298 currently the time to beat here at the moment. Gaffera just just a little over 4/10 off. Larenko sits in 3rd, Fox in 4th, and Paulie Massimino 5th, who struggled all weekend long at Newcastle Motorsports Park. So let's see and hope that Paulie figured out whatever was amiss at Newcastle and can get back up on the top step here this weekend, as a lot of shifting here. Henry Wheeler has found some pace here. 54.972 for Henry Wheeler, who's struggled a little bit this year, especially in qualifying and across some of the racing action, but I mean, it seems like he's definitely refound that pace here this weekend. 54.972, the time to beat now by the PSL Karting Braille Art Machine.
Josh Holtz as well tried to pick up a little bit. He's got his teammate Alex Feldstein right behind, closing up to him. Feldstein 7th. Terlecki bumped down to 6th on lap 2. Henry Wheeler, you can see, chasing his PSL teammate in Diego Ramos. And this place here, Caleb, was probably bittersweet to come back to in an OKN Stars package when he saw that championship slip away on the final lap when he misread the flags and left the door open for Brandon Carr to slip by and steal the title when this race hosted the finale of the Stars Championship Series a year ago. But he has not let that phase him so far in qualifying. Let's see what lap 3 brings us. And a big lap for Henry again. Ramos as well, but even bigger, how about class debut, Austin Olds to the top on the MPG Kart Republic.
Insane lap here by the rookie, a 54.744, and that MPG Academy machine absolutely rolling here. His dad and Chase Jones just kind of hoping that he would get to grips with his OKN package here early on, and he's definitely done so here, already going to the top.
Yeah, Austin Olds looks good in the number 50. I mean, again, this is just 2 real practice sessions. Had no testing time before this weekend. However, as we've heard from Nick Terlecki's interview, the 125 classes and specifically the Rotax Max package with a lot of mid-range power is similar to this engine. So Austin was fast at the Rotax Trophy East event, didn't have the best results from it, but he looked good. Josh Holtz here following the 22 around, a little further back in the number 22 OTK, currently in 10th, and he might be struggling for something right now because that pace is not there for the team owner. New driver at the top on this time by Paulie Massimino, able to go better than Austin Olds. A 54.590 for Paulie as he tries to take himself from 30 markers back into the points lead. The round 1 winner from Charlotte looking good here at MCC.
Yeah, very good here for Paulie Massimino. Terlecki fell back to 3rd. Austin Olds in 2nd here at the moment. Ramos 4th. Henry Wheeler rounding up your top 5. So still a lot of qualifying left here, and all these drivers kind of pushing the limits. You see Paulie Massimino very busy on the steering wheel, trying to get as much pace out of that BJR MDR Elencar here at the moment.
Diego Ramos paving a nice path for himself and Henry Wheeler, but Ramos still needs 2 more tenths to knock off the number 40. Paulie will get a little help down the front stretch, but they're going to bounce the limiter pretty early at this place, so the tow will only go so far. That time by, for the first time in a while, no major moves. Ramos jumped up to 3rd, moved within a 1/10 of a second of the best laps. Leapfrog Nick Terlecki, as there's a look at Nick's dad, Tim, there on top of the hauler, keeping an eye on his son's qualifying efforts. Currently P4 in the number 88 machine, but Massimino still the quickest at a 54.590. He slowed down 2/10 last time. I don't know if he's going to keep going for more. He's tracking down Austin Olds this lap, and if he times it right and ends up a bit lucky, I should say, really, with the timing of when he gets to his bumper, it might be better than his previous best, but otherwise he may start to hit traffic and may head for the scale line early. Here's a look at the Fox and Son karting duo. Aiden Fox, Aiden Larenko, Caleb Gaffera right in the mix of the two of them. As they cross the line, can they go a little better? They're down in 7th and 8th right now, 3.5 tenths off. Gaffera heads for the pit lane. He's 6th. And here comes the rest of the pack with 30 seconds to go. No changes up front except for Massimino. Did go a little better. Picked up a couple hundredths. He puts a 10th on the field now.
Yeah, good lap there by Paulie Massimino. 54.549. And it really looked good going on to the back straightaway. Closed down a lot to Austin Olds, who's still in the 2nd spot. Terlecki went personal best the last time around, 54.667. So need to find a couple of hundredths to knock off Austin Olds from the front row. So a little bit of time to find for your points leader here in OKN Stars, but the time continuing to dwindle down. Checkered flag will be out this time around. Let's see what it looks like for everybody as they get set to go to cross the stripe.
Big run towards the back of the 29 for Austin Olds. Little ways back to find the next driver. This will be it. Checkers at the line. Can anyone go quicker than Massimino as Larenko slows down in the last turn and holds up Olds? Here's Nick Terlecki. Looked like he might have had to go through traffic. At the stripe, anyone else going to go any bit better? It doesn't look like it. A bunch of drivers going to pit lane. Shea Aldridge will finish the lap. Josh Holtz will as well. They've got time to find. Holtz will not go any better. Big lap coming. That's Theo Corelli across the line of the 19. He will stay in 13th. And it will be official as Terlecki bails on that last lap. Also, Paulie Massimino will score the pole in OKN Stars qualifying. Austin Olds 2nd, Terlecki 3rd, Ramos 4th, Henry Wheeler 5th, Caleb Gaffera about a 10th and a quarter back We saw him pull in 2 laps early at the end of just 5 complete. Massimino, Trelecki, and Ramos completing 6, and Olds staying out to finish that last one. It'll be an impressive debut run for Austin Olds as he gets to start from the front row for the 2 motos tomorrow afternoon in the number 50. Further back from Gaffera, you'll find Aiden Fox and Aiden Lorenko, 7th and 8th in the standings, 7th and 8th in qualifying. Josh Holtz 9th. Alex Feldstein on debut gets a top 10 in quali over Shea Aldrich, James Brassel, Theo Corelli, Sutter Gable, Mingnan Zhu, the 15 that turned laps here in OKN Stars qualifying. And from them now to a hefty Pro Stars field. And Gavin Bailiff, chatting with him earlier today, he was hoping just for some good luck. He feels like for a track that he knows pretty well and a track he works at and he lives about 50 feet away from, Caleb, it doesn't seem to treat him all too well when he comes in races here, at least in recent memory.
Yeah, I had a spin earlier on in one of the practice sessions into turn number 1 and quickly was able to get back going and look to continue not too bad of a start of the season for Gavin Bailiff. Finished 4th at Charlotte. It was a little bit of an off weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park, to Gavin's standards, and he looks to get back up to hopefully his maiden podium here in the national karting shifter scene here this weekend. So we'll see what it looks like for Gavin Bailiff, the hometown favorite here this weekend. Big cheering section for the entire, for both the Bailiff boys, I should say, for Finn and Gavin, who get set to go green, and all the Trinity Karting Group team that's actually based here out of the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. So we'll see how it all unfolds here shortly.
And with just one moto or a good quali effort, he can leapfrog his way all the way up to 2nd in the standings. AJ Myers, the Magic Man, leads the Pro Stars points by 83 markers over Talon Yockel in 2nd, Ian Quinn 3rd, Gavin Bailiff 4th, but he's 93 back, only 10 back out of 2nd, and only 3 ahead of last year's Clash at the Club winner, Michael Riccio, the Canadian, on his 2nd Pro Stars season, rolling from 5th in the standings. Justin White enters the weekend 6th. Billy Musgrave has had really no luck if it weren't for bad luck, it feels like, in 2024, but he was the driver to beat through both of the dry practice sessions in Pro Stars and ended quickest at the end of FP3. So Billy Musgrave on that JMF Racing factory cart has everyone's stopwatches on him and probably will still through qualifying to see how they're doing. Here's a look at the Kiwi kid who had a fantastic spring stretch here in the States. Jay Irwin in the number 220 PSL Karting Bureau Lard. First career U.S. Pro podium in Orlando. Then parlayed that to the very next pro race with a win at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but had no good results to take home back to New Zealand in Newcastle, Indiana at the King of the Castle. He went from top of the standings to outside the top 8. He needs a big run here this weekend.
Yeah, definitely needs to regain the momentum he had at the start of the year. So spoke to Jay earlier on in the weekend, dealing a lot with jet lag here this weekend. A very long flight for him, obviously, from New Zealand. So just struggling a little bit with that, but he doesn't want to make excuses for himself. Wants to go as quick as he can here and regain that momentum that he had at the start of the year. And Talon Yockel as well, a driver who just left Sodi, a privateer operation, and we'll see what it looks like for Talon Yockel as one driver
Problems
there, the 221.
For the 221, Mitchell Lowry has gone off here in a very, very sketchy section of the racetrack at the end of the S's. First lap times coming in. We'll pull that leaderboard on the left side of your screen for you to see it. It's Jay Irwin at a 53.131. That is your fastest right now over Josh Conker, Vincenzo Saraceno, Talon Yockel, Billy Musgrave and company back in the 5th spot. Charlie Stein 6th at the end of the opening lap. Ian Quinn 7th. Annie Rule, Jason Enrique, and AJ Myers down in 10th on lap number 1, but he probably is still warming those tires up right now as we'll pull that leaderboard up for you to see shortly.
Yeah, definitely for AJ, like you said, it looks like he's still trying to get some tire warmth into those tires as you see him lapping around. It looks like he's pushing now, so we'll see what the lap time looks like for AJ Myers when he crosses the stripe. Riccio right behind him, and I assume Andy Rule is going to be right behind them as well. But Ian Quinn, a kid who's been knocking on the door here so far this year. Irwin to the top. Ian Quinn makes it a 1-2 for PSL.
Yeah, big lap for both of the Red Army drivers, but we're waiting for more to cross. Musgrave to 2nd, 200ths off the pole. Charlie Steins into 4th with a good run. Myers' opening lap only good enough for 5th for the driver that finished 2nd here at the Pro Tour a month ago and was the fastest driver throughout the heats and qualifying. AJ back in the edge of the top 5 with 2.5 tenths to find to go to pole. Vincenzo Saraceno and Justin White, the Maranello drivers, have always found themselves around each other with the two red and black machines. They're 6th and 7th. Michael Riccio 8th. There's Jared Ramnarayan. He's outside the top 10 looking in right now with Gavin Bailiff in 9th and Josh Conker currently the last one in the top 10. Let's see what Billy Musgrave can do. The All-American badass headed out of the back section on the 211. Currently 2nd. Irwin's going to reset fast time. 52 flat for Jay. Musgrave cannot go much closer. 52.26 for Billy. 2.5 tenths back. Let's see what AJ can answer with. Myers to 4th. Michael Riccio will go better than his Magic Kart teammate.
A lot of shuffling so far in this session. Just over 3 minutes left to go. So an all-out push. I would assume some of these drivers are going to burn a couple of laps or either bring it into the pits here early, as I hear
one driver tagging the wall. Yeah. That is Justin White. Or no, sorry, that is going to be Chris Verino. Chris Verino in the 436 Rockstars entry. Verino tags the wall. Here's a look at Talon Yockel, the reigning number 1 plate. Might be holding up Jay Irwin on this last lap for Irwin here, probably. And Irwin is going to back off and reset. So he did not want to go toe-to-toe with Talon Yockel there, the number 1 driver on his own. A privateer effort, father and son, full independent program with backing from Sandy Competition Engines. And the number 1 plate right now needs a little more speed. He is down in 11th, outside your top 10 for the reigning series champ.
Yeah, definitely not what Talon Yockel would have wanted here so far. 53.1 is all that he's going to have in the tank here at the moment. Let's see if he can improve a little bit. Update on the time, just a little bit over 2 minutes here. So still a lot of qualifying left to go. Irwin still sits at the top. And let's see what Musgrave can do.
I'm curious how many drivers are going to bail this lap. 4 laps might be the ticket. I don't know if you'll see many more try to go. Josh Conker on the 254, up to 6 now, trying to go a little more. Let's see if anyone goes into the pit lane on the front straightaway cam here this time by. No one's going to bail, so Irwin stays out. He's going to go for another. Musgrave closes the gap down to 1/10 and a half. Into the pits for what might be taking poles there.
Annie Rule, I think.
Might be Rule. Yeah, that is indeed Annie Rule into the pit lane. Here's a look at Jay Irwin. So he backed off, did a full cool-down lap, 3.5 seconds slower than his best last time by to reset the gap. And now the Kiwi kid is going to try to go better this time as he rockets through the S's. Let's see if Jay Irwin can lengthen the margin. Right now he's on par for a pole award. His teammate Ian Quinn has faltered down to 8th on the 297. And the Mark Steel Motorsports supported PSL driver is struggling a little bit for the speed he needs to start up front. Here's Irwin on the run to the line. Quinn's going to go for another. Irwin will finish this lap out. Is it enough to lengthen the gap? No, sir. That is a 52.5, and I think you'll probably see him start to slow the pace down. Billy Musgrave has not yet crossed, and I don't know if he will. Josh Conker back there. AJ Myers still only 4th, and he's going to end there. Myers to the pit lane. Nothing better for AJ. Here's a look at the 202 machine. That is one of the Rivera Racing GFCs of David Carmody, currently 15th. Irwin on a cool-down lap. Musgrave's gone in. Irwin's still pushing. I'll take that back, Caleb. He's trying to go for more. He doesn't need to, as it looks like all of the major contenders have headed for pit lane.
Yeah, I don't want to speak too soon, but I don't think anybody's going to be able to improve their lap times. Musgrave last time by, actually lap number 5 at 52.174. Does Irwin bail, or does he go across the stripe here this time around? And he is going to cross the stripe, and no better that time around either. 52.524, 5/10 off his fastest lap time of the race. And Ian Quinn, they are stopping and doing a practice start. Definitely not what you wanted to do in a qualifying session, especially considering those are tires you're going to race on tomorrow. So we'll see what happens as Riccio lapping around. He's going to burn this lap around, and I really don't see anybody improving lap times here.
That'll be it
anymore,
for sure.
Xander.
Yeah, that's going to do it in Pro Stars qualifying. So how about it for Jay Irwin? Needed a bounce-back weekend after King of the Castle. That's how you do it right there. Puts a 10th and a half on the 4-time Super Nationals champion Billy Musgrave. And the factory car driver will get his best career starting spot of the year on the outside of the front row. And arguably the best starter off the line, the best hole shotter in the pro shifter contingent here in the U.S., Billy Musgrave, and he'll get the clean side of the racetrack as well, which we saw win out in all 3 starts from the SCUSA Pro Tour, so he might even be better off than Irwin. Michael Riccio and A.J. Myers, a Magic Cart lockout of row 2. How about that for the student? Going a little quicker than the teacher. Riccio third, the winner from last year. Myers fourth, Vincenzo Saraceno fifth, Josh Conker, Gavin Bailiff, Ian Quinn, Charlie Steins, and Justin White, your top 10. Talon Yockel in 11th, Eli Fox down in 12th, Jared Ramnarayan, Anthony Rule, and then David Carmody, the top 15. Here's the rest of the Pro Stars field, down to Riley Pegram, Kyle Kennedy, Jonathan Ocasio, Jason Enrique, and Frankie Ayadavea rounds off the top 20, but he also ends as the quickest driver in Rock Shifter. Then Poles, Lowry, Hickman, Hugh, and Chris Farino, who we saw go off and tag the wall. Now, they're into the scale line in tech, but one driver who is all the way through it, and with a great start to a weekend that he is primed to retake that points lead, Paulie Massimino is standing by with Alex.
Thank you, Xander. Paulie entered the weekend 4th in the points, in the best spot, best seat in the house for tomorrow's races. I mean, how'd you feel about that lap?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really feel like it was that great. I made a mistake up in the back, and I went across the line. I figured, we were pretty decent. I was just kind of gauging myself with the whole pack in front of me. Everybody was in front of me besides Sir Lucky, so I kind of felt like, at worst case, I felt like I was maybe P2. But, yeah, I kind of made a mistake in the back, but overall, still a great lap.
Now, the day as a whole, describe it to me, because, I mean, I know we burned a session with the rain, but other than that, I mean, you feel good? You have a good piece for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of working with some different things throughout the day, trying stuff with the motor, trying stuff with the cart. We kind of had a baseline from SCUSA last time we were here. We felt pretty quick once we got the cart dialed in. So we kind of used that as a baseline and tweaked some things just because of the different package. And, yeah, the motor super great that session. We kind of struggled with it earlier, just kind of finding the right balance for it at this track. But that time it felt great. Cart felt great. So thank you to Carlos for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. The whole BJR, MDR crew, my dad, Perez, all those people that make it happen. Offset, Nexet, Twin, Group A, yeah, and whoever else.
Thank you, Paulie.
Thank you.
There you have it from Paulie Massimino. A solid start to a race weekend for the OKN Stars driver that enters just 30 markers out of the lead, and he looks to hopefully take that momentum into his second win over 3 races in the Stars Championship Series in the OKN Stars class. A season that he wasn't even prepared to drive for, Caleb. It was a last-minute call-up to fill the seat on the Carblos Racing Engines powered OKN entry, and he rolled that right into a race win, and then all of a sudden plans had to change, and, well, they were in for the season, and right now he looks pretty good for round number 3.
Yeah, what surprised me the most about Paulie is how he still has to look down and memorize all the sponsors on there. I think he's done enough of these interviews where he should have them down by now. You'd assume he'd have them down by now, but still looking down. But good to see Paulie, up there. It was a little bit of a struggle for him at Newcastle, a little bit off the pace. He obviously started good, but just a little bit of a difference compared to the X30 stuff and here with the OKN package for the first time for him. So good to see him doing good this weekend, back up there and competitive.
I know we're going to see if we can't go down and chat with Kiwi kid Jay Irwin himself with the pole in qualifying for Pro Stars. In the meantime, though, of course, folks, here's a look at what is to come for Saturday, July 13th. It is 11 hours of consecutive Stars Championship Series on-track action, beginning with warm-up first thing tomorrow morning. Then we'll go to KC Premium members exclusively for Heats 1 and 2, as well as the Pro Motos all the way through the day. Capping things off late into the evening with 6 p.m. set for the Pro Moto 2. The Pro Moto 1, they're showing at 2:50. I believe that might be their warm-up session before they really get things going. But Pro Moto, they get 2 heats. The semi-pro classes will have, actually, I believe Pro Show Moto 1. That is the pre-final A slot for the semi-pro classes. So 2:50 and 6 p.m. Eastern, 11:50 and 3 p.m. Pacific for the 2 Pro Motos. We're showing Pro Show Moto 1 there in the center at the bottom, 3:40. That'll be pre-finals. A pre-finals for KA Stars and KA Juniors, and still have a B pre-final to set the final starting spots for their mains Sunday morning. And then, of course, before they get to their pre-finals, they'll have 2 rounds of heat races. Here's a look then into Sunday. Warm-up again kicks off at 8 a.m. Eastern, Sunday, July 14th. 10 a.m. We'll start with racing action with the B pre-finals for KA Stars and KA Juniors. I believe both will have it to set the final few spots, 31 through 40. The rest will fail to transfer to the mains, and then the semi-pro mains start at 11. The pro show presented by Mazda Motorsports starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, runs till 3:30 p.m. Eastern here with OKN Stars, and then right into the Pro Stars main event. So a full weekend of action, beginning with 11 hours of live coverage tomorrow. Today was just a taste to set the grids for all of the races to come. And if today was any bit of a test of the weather that we might be in store for, you would have no idea looking at this picture right now from the back corner of the racetrack, Caleb, that we had any kind of inclement weather at all. But we definitely had some showers and some overcast skies for about probably a good hour.
Yeah, no, for sure. It just, like I said before, mixed it up for everybody, kept the mechanics on their toes, all the drivers on their toes as well. But, I mean, we're live bright and early tomorrow. Hopefully we get here early so we can find some good parking, because this is an absolute packed house here at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Fence line to fence line. There's trucks, cars, carts, golf carts or whatnot, RVs. We have it all here at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. So absolute packed house, and hopefully we can get here early tomorrow morning, find a good parking spot, Daniel. We can wake up early enough. Hopefully a bright and early morning call tomorrow. So we can get out here early.
Yeah, it'll be bright and early for us and the rest of the field here. Definitely tomorrow. Packed house, 240 plus here for record-setting numbers at the 3rd Stars Championship Series race in a row. Over 280 at the King of the Castle event, nearly 300 at Charlotte Motor Speedway to kick the season off with the Queen City Gambit. And it all builds towards the season finale under the lights at Trackhouse Motorplex, the Stars Championship Series night fight to crown the champions Saturday night in the early September. 2 weeks after Labor Day weekend, we will crown our 2024 champions with one heck of a show under the Bright Musco lighting system at Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. So that will be one fun event for sure. I know on our end and the Stars side, we are gearing up to try and make that a marquee, can't-miss event, whether you're in the points or not. It is so cool to get to race at night, period. And Trackhouse Motorplex, they do it perfectly with their lighting system. Let's take a look for what the races are in store for here. This is our kart class track map from the MCC Kartplex. 16 turns, 0.95 tenths of a mile, just under a mile in length. And that long straightaway down to turn number 1, Caleb, to kick off the lap, brings us a lot of action because it's so tempting to pass there, but you've got to get down to the inside before you hit the marbles on the outside of turn 1, and even by yourself, see some drivers put it off and into the wall.
No, for sure. Just like you said, anything off lane, going to be super slick and very hairy to get around. And then turn number 2, one of the biggest passing opportunities here on the racetrack, as well as turn number 4 and turn number 7. So a lot of hairpins, a lot of slow sections, provides over-unders and all that fun stuff.
Then through the S's, it goes to probably the, a quick funnel at turns 8 and 9. And then things really tighten up at turn 11. Turn 1, as you can see on the map, doesn't have a lot of runoff room. Not a lot of room for error next to the racetrack, as the grid lineup with the pit boxes right there is right next door. And then turn 11, also not a lot of room for error. That trouble spot already claimed one victim. A couple that have gone off there, but most notably Brandon Lemke with that scary moment in final practice for KA Stars. He was obviously able to recover, repair the go-kart, and get out and qualify nicely and get out into what should be the top 10, I think, with the blend between groups A and B. Then up and over that crest out of 11 into the back section where there is so much G-load because there's so, it's so inviting to go as fast as possible through turn 12. All of that rubber laid down on the line, all of the dirtiness off the line, even then through turns 13 and 14, couple of corners that had the Rhino liner patchwork done to a little bit of track repair, kind of clean that surface up. And then it's full throttle all the way from turn 14, really all the way down to turn number 2, if you can hold it outside of the gearbox classes that drop one gear into a light lift into one. Because turn 15, turn 16, that flat-out kink, you might as well flatten that straightaway from 1 back to 14 on this racetrack. But the on-track activities are closed here for the day from the MCC Kartplex for sure. It has been one heck of a day for qualifying action and 4 rounds of practice for the semi-pro drivers, 3 rounds for the pro divisions, all culminating in that most recent session here with Pro Stars qualifying. And Jay Irwin has just made his way out of the scale line. He is standing by with Alex on a weekend that he needs to really have some good results to put him back in the championship chase and the championship picture. After that impressive win in Charlotte, he looks to be back to form here in Cincy. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. Jay, so far you've turned some of your bad luck around. A good start to the weekend. Did it feel as good as it looked out there?
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't think that I was fast. I looked at the time and I was like, oh, the feeling it was like, oh, but no, it's a good result.
I mean, you were here for the SCUSA event. Unfortunately, had some bad luck there as well. But in comparison to what you learned from SCUSA into this weekend, I mean, how do you think the racing's going to be? What do you think it's going to take to kind of hold them all back?
Yeah, the racing's completely different. Last week at SCUSA I was fast, but I just couldn't quite race with them. So that's what we're going to try and work on this week.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks.
There you have it from Jay Irwin. And building on what he mentioned there, I mean, even his pole time was a 10th and a half slower than final practice of what Billy Musgrave was able to do when he topped the charts in FP3. And that is straight up track conditions, because while most drivers will go new, some may go scuffs for that final practice, but all are on sticker MG yellow rubber, and you expect as a driver for the field to find 2 or 3 more tenths in qualifying, but for the track to slow down, something to keep in the notes when they go back out for Pro Moto number 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely going to be something to look out for all of these drivers, but I think that pretty much does it for today here, Xander. It's been a great day of qualifying action, and I'm super excited for what's to come tomorrow.
Yeah, we cannot wait to bring you all the action. Hopefully you're able to wake up bright and early with us tomorrow morning. 7:30 a.m. Eastern kicks off warm-ups here all the way through heat races and pro motos, completing the day right around 6:30 p.m. local time here on the East Coast in Cincinnati, Ohio. But for Alexander Sherrill down on pit lane, Caleb Vieska, myself, Xander Clements, the hardworking Kart Chaser team, and the Stars officials, the night prep continues, but the on-track action is wrapped, and we will see you tomorrow.